Dude, it feels like a year since we ordered. Where's our food? When are we gonna get it?
I'm sure they are hard at work on your spaghetti. Just wait a little longer.
Man, I freaking hope so, because it looked really good on the menu and I really don't want to be disappointed.
Oh, here it is.
What is this?
It's your spaghetti.
My spaghetti? It's just a bowl of noodles, what the f?
I don't know, dude, it looks pretty good to me. Give my thanks to the chef.
You shut up. You. Where's the rest of my spaghetti? It said that it would come with sauce and meatballs. Well, why doesn't it come with all that?
My apologies, sir. The sauce and meatballs will be ready in about 3 years. But please enjoy your spaghetti that you paid full price for.
At least it smells good.
I'm about to get violent. In the world of modern gaming, first impressions are very important. Players invest their time and money into games with the hope of an enjoyable and immersive experience. However, not all games manage to live up to those expectations. They may have technical issues, lackluster gameplay, or other factors that lead to massive disappointment. Some of those games being Cyberpunk, Halo Infinite, No Man's Sky, Fallout. I could keep going, but I really don't want to. All these games came out to high expectations but fell flat on their face. Recently, the developers of these games have provided content drops and updates that make the experiences in these games often feel better than what was initially promised. So it begs the question, do games deserve a second chance? What made me think of this question is Cyberpunk 2077, where it was originally announced back in May of 2012, and the trailers of the game didn't even come out until January 2013 during E3, with the tagline being, "Coming when it's ready." Which wouldn't be until a decade later. Phantom Liberty, a DLC for Cyberpunk 2077 that recently released along with the 2.0 update that makes the game actually feel complete, with its new skill system, gunplay mechanics, and enemies creating a newfound experience to Cyberpunk. I played the Phantom Liberty update a lot, and with no surprise, I absolutely loved it. The last time I even touched Cyberpunk was when it initially came out back in December 2020, where I did not love it. I don't think I need to remind anybody about how incomplete Cyberpunk felt when it initially released, just that there were constant bugs, poor optimization, and basically unplayable gameplay. Like, how can a Lego City game do this, but a multi-million-dollar game company can't? Like, didn't you make the fucking Witcher? Now, that's not to say it wasn't playable, it was just really painful. Fast track 3 years later and you have more updates, an anime, content from the anime, Idris Elba, Sandevistan build, a new ending. Like, Cyberpunk is finally complete, with the reviews of the game being mostly positive now. There's just one really popular opinion that's been floating around for not just Cyberpunk, but a lot of other games that I've already mentioned, being that the game should have came out like this. And you know what? They're right. The thing is, the statement of the game should have came out like this is a matter of perspective, and it depends on a lot of factors, like the development process and the overall intentions of the developers/publishers. Take Elden Ring, for example. When it first dropped, it was already claimed to be the best game ever, with its world, gameplay, story, and all that other shit I mentioned in my video. The thing is, it got even better over time, with updates, and now with the DLC on the way, it's only gonna get better. But then you have Fallout 76. A massive disappointment. I don't play that game. Now, the answer for should we give games a second chance isn't as simple as you think. I think it comes down to how you value your purchase and what you think the devs have in mind. Because game development is a wild fucking ride, dude. Like, this isn't a small world after all, motherfucker. We're on Shriekra and you're sitting backwards now. First impressions in today's games are crucial. Many players make up their mind about a game within the first few hours, and this initial experience often dictates whether they continue playing the game or abandon the game entirely to then write a full MLA formatted essay on why the game sucks. Games are a substantial investment, both in terms of time and money, and I think it's natural for players to want a satisfying return on that investment. So when CDPR, 343, Hello Games, Bethesda, and so on showed off their games at E3, that was the player's first impression, and so they started to develop expectations. Holy shit, wall running with mantis blades and then vaulting on enemies, that's gonna be so cool. Oh, we get to play split screen campaign locally, that's gonna be great with this open world. Oh, we get to explore planets with our friends and fight in space. Holy shit, this is gonna be game of the year. They lied. Developers make products to sell to consumers, explaining why they should consume. That's basically what E3 used to be, to show consumers and shareholders all the features and cool things that you should expect to be in the game. But when that product finally comes out and you find out that the sauce and meatballs you ordered aren't there, you're gonna feel like you got scammed. It's typically the reason why a lot of players don't buy games as soon as they release, including myself. Cyberpunk, an inexcusably unfinished product. Halo Infinite, not enough content, like not even a Slayer playlist. No Man's Sky, a bunch of fucking lies by this guy.
Fallout 76, just don't play it. Do not download that game. They do not deserve it.
And Battlefield. Oh, yep. All this absolute clusterfuck of unacceptable game development resulting in people quitting franchises entirely, unless they have a good enough reputation. Take FromSoft, for example, where literally almost every game they've put out is a finished product with no bugs or technical game-breaking issues. You know, the way games should be released, unless you're Ubisoft, or EA, or Bethesda, or Activision, or any other game development company that thinks this is acceptable. Like, what the fuck? So I'm sure at this point you and I are thinking the same thing. Why? Why aren't games coming out completed like they did for Halo 2 and Metal Gear and fucking Burger King Pocket Bike Racer? See, back in 2007, there was this new neat thing that you could do for your game. Downloading an update to fix issues or add stuff after the game's release. An example being some fighting games like Soul Calibur 4, where you would get an update to your game to make some tweaks and adjustments to make a more balanced experience. And if you played Soul Calibur 4, you're obligated to subscribe now because that game is very underrated, and I like it a lot. So this update after launch trend basically turned into a guarantee as time kept going. Day one patches basically in every game you play now. And I think that's because the publishers set the release date way too fucking early to get all those holiday sales and pretty much force developers into a crunch, where oftentimes certain aspects are overlooked. To put it all into a perspectively based GameCube, where all these games came out to high expectations since their first impression showed how great the game was going to be, only to have those expressions be let down and eventually developers making half-ass apologies with roadmaps for future updates. Is it wrong? Absolutely. Should there have been a QA team for these games? Also yes. Should we give those games a second chance, especially since the developers made a pretty good effort making these games how they were supposed to come out, and if not better? Alright, hear me out for a second. Because it's like I said, it's not that simple of a question. As most of you know, new games these days are $70. And for someone who already purchased the game on PS4 will have a different answer than someone who just watched Edgerunners and went back to play the game. One, because that PS4 player already invested $60 to play the game the first time around and doesn't want to spend another $70 to play the finalized game, and that's not even including the DLC. And two, when the anime came out and convinced a lot of people to pick up the game again was when the Edgerunners update came out, and in my opinion, that's when the game started to feel a whole lot better. Right now, Halo Infinite's on its 5th season with new features such as switchable armor cores and spawnable AI in Forge mode, you know, features that should have been there when the game launched. And as an avid Halo player and fan, I renounced Halo Infinite when I first played it because of the lack of content and the story that made less than half sense. But since this new update came out, I found myself playing the game again and ultimately having a good time. So you can see how it's a bit of a mixed bag. It really depends on how bad those issues were initially and if you want to invest yourself into that game again. Now look, I'm not here to twist your arm into hitting that reinstall button. Your wallet and hard drive are not my business. But what I can tell you is that when the devs do their thing, fixing the bugs, dropping some sweet, free new content, they can really turn players' heads. See, the modern gaming community can actually be a very forgiving bunch, believe it or not. If they see that the developers are going all out to make things better for a game, it's like a fresh start. It's the devs saying, we messed up, we're making things better now, and it's all for free. Just that free statement alone can totally change players' minds about a game. So with the right effort and improvements, you can bet players are going to warm up to a game again, even if it had a really bad beginning. So to wrap everything up, I want to make some things Windex clean here. Should you give games that launch terribly a second chance? If it's convenient and you already have it in your library and all the fixes are free and generally make the game a better experience, then yes, absolutely, go download Cyberpunk and see. But if you have to repurchase the game, or if the game came out in a really bad state, like an inexcusable state, I'm talking worse than Redfall bad, and the developers haven't made it clear about setting improvement to the game, then no. give it up. The accident was 3 years ago, dude. Time to move on. I'm of the opinion that it should be illegal to advertise and sell products in this broken ass state. But I am all for second chances, especially when the hardworking developers got into the kitchen and cooked up all those sauces and meatballs and coded all of this fuck shit mess that publishers thought was a thrilling experience. A lot of initially broken games can eventually blossom into really good ones, like No Man's Sky, MCC, and Cyberpunk. And I think you're just robbing yourself the experience they've become since you've already purchased the game. I don't know, just let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be there for the first 24 hours of the videos being published. But at the end of the day, it's your time and money, so I'm not gonna judge. So I sure hope you don't.